Texas Governor Greg Abbott just tested positive for COVID. It is known that he himself has been vaccinated, but he is quite hell-bent on implementing policies to discourage COVID safety and vaccines. In fact, I came across a comment that he has had 3 vaccine shots and he is using Regeneron therapy, so that, as the commenting individual said, must be nice. This guy is yet another example of GOP governance where the principle seems to be do as I say, not as I do, and even though I myself will do everything in my power to do what is best for me and my family, to you I'll suggest that jumping off a cliff might be a good idea. So, just like his idiot counterpart in sunny Florida, Abbott has opposed mask mandates and issued executive orders banning school districts from requiring masks. There is no birth time available, but as a Scorpio sun with Mars-Neptune conjunct in early Scorpio, and the moon almost certainly in Leo unless he happens to be born in the very early AM hours of November 14th, well, this tells us that he is under the gun from transiting Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus challenges from Taurus at the same time. As to where he's headed politically, the key question becomes whether he will be re-elected in 2022, which cannot be classified as an easy year because Saturn will be moving deeper into Aquarius to challenge his sun degrees, so that from late spring until election time, he is going to be under a lot of stress. So the question becomes, is this 2022 challenge from Saturn, which is still there at election time in November of 22, enough to defeat him? A positive counterpoint in his favor is the transiting Jupiter through Pisces during the first few months of the year, and the time Jupiter spends in Aries up to election time is also fairly favorable because it will connect with his Sagittarius Mercury in a positive and supportive way. And when we look at transiting Neptune, we see that it is a big asset in 2021, this year, because it is trining his Sun, and although by next year it has moved a little forward from his exact Sun degrees, it is more than close enough to continue to have a positive effect. Neptune in supportive transits tends to be very helpful for politicians. And when I put this scenario together with the fact that he won his last 2 governor races in 2014 with 59% of the vote and in 2018 with 56%, I'm sensing that he is likely to be re-elected again. Texas has been trending blue the last few years, but it is still more red than Florida, where DeSantis got his job by the thinnest of margins, and where DeSantis will be going into election season with a chart that signals pretty serious dangers, whereas in the case of Abbott, he starts with a bigger percentage cushion and has a better chart going into that election. Having said all that, I like this guy about as much as I like DeSantis. So, since hope springs eternal, I can always wish for an ascendant midheaven situation based on the requisite birth time to draw him into rough transits to add to the Saturn pressure in 2022. For example, cardinal rising and or midheaven degrees from 25 to 27 degrees, so that the transiting Pluto, which brings a tight square from birth to Mercury, can rough him up in 2022. But of course I recognize this is really threading the needle in terms of expectation, so I have to be honest, and I would say I wouldn't hold my breath on expecting the Texas governorship to go blue in 2022.